What was your favourite experience at the school?
Lining up at the tuck shop for vanilla slices.
Correct. Who was your favourite teacher?
Laureata would be one of them.
Lovely man.
Jim Stanhope would be another, strangely enough.
Yes, Jim. What was his nickname, do you recall?
Cake or gâteau if you were in your French lesson.
Yeah, we call him Greasy Jim because of the Brill cream.
Oh, that would have worked, yep.
What did you think of the Reverend Bruce Clark?
I thought Bruce was great. I still remember him talking about, he gave a lesson at school one day and he used to give talks at lunchtime, and he said, there's a little problem. Some of you boys are getting confused between your willies and fire extinguishers. And he said, I want you to go to the toilet and use them properly instead of trying to pee over the top of the wall. We allowed to run that one? That was more or less, that was one of my earliest memories of Bruce, and I went, oh, right, okay, we've got a different teacher here.
What was the nickname of the headmaster of the school?
Skull.
Skull, that's correct. Who hit harder in corporal punishment? I nearly said capital punishment. Who hit harder, David Bremmer with the sand shoe or the Skull with his cane? What hurt the most? Ross Johnson?
Certainly the Skull.
I think so.
Never got a hit. Wouldn't know.
Lucky bugger. You must have been good at sport, David Rutledge. Ray
I thought Ken McGarvin wasn't bad on the sand shoe either.
Correct. What was Ken McGarvin's nickname?
Spinner.
Spinner McGarvin, that's correct. Tony Grant.
Bit of fluff in your hand there, mate.
This is a piece of fluff.
I can see that.
This is Tony Grant, who now lives down the Otways in a beautiful place. What was the thing you most despised at the Peninsula School, Tony?
Dudley.
What was his nickname?
The Skull.
Correct. Who hit harder, David Bremmer with a sand shoe or Skull with a cane?
I never got either.
Lucky bastard.
Yep.
You must have done something right. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Brooke Miskin. We're doing a 60-second grab. Men were there.
I didn't quite see David Sancho, but Skull with a cane had a deft touch.
That's right. Where did he hide his canes in his office?
He had behind the door there were about half a dozen, which he used to.
That's
quite a good look at before he selected the one that would do the job.
They were behind the Besser Block bookcase on the right, weren't they?
Just about right, I'd say. Yeah,
Bastard.
memory.
And you were a prefect. You were one of the good guys.
Oh, I got caught having a beer, and he said, "You've got a choice. You can give me your badge, or you can have 6." So I said, "Well, get into it."
Oh, okay, yeah, keep the badge. Good on you, mate.
So there you go. No worries at all.
Ian, tell us about your experiences at school. What was the most frightening thing that ever happened to you?
Probably consistently seeing Dudley Clark in the Assembly Hall trying to make us sing the school song.
It must have been terrifying.
It was terrifying because I was sure that he was picking on me rather than the other 80-odd students.
Actually, I thought he was only picking on me.
Well, he could have been, and in fact, it's likely he was picking on you. Don't forget that I was the first person to win a drama prize playing the Pirate King and the Pirates of Penzance. Yeah.
I won the drama prize 4 times myself out of 400 boys because I played a girl.
I don't know how you could have got any better than my accolades.
4 years in a row.
Well...
All right, 60 seconds, time's up. What was the nickname of Dudley Barrington Clark?
I just thought it was Duddles.
Skull.
Thank you, Tony Austin. It was Skull or the Skull. Jim Larby, what's the most frightening thing that happened to you at the school?
Being caned with my pants down.
With your pants down. That happened to Shane Pentland too. A certain fella named Skull, once upon a time, got Shane Pentland to slide the lockers, you know, those things that you held the bags, over the door, pulled his pants down and belted him.
I was expecting something else, but I was wrong.
Is that like the doctor checking a...
At least I got to keep my pants up.
If he wanted to inflict pain, he could have done it with the pants on, one would think. Richard Coughlin, what are your experiences?
Almost the same. We happened to walk past Skull's office. We weren't allowed to in those days. About 4 of us. We're hauled into the bloody gym, changing room. We all had to bend over, pull our pants down,
Pull your pants down.
and he gave it to us with a sand shoe.
Bastard.
He was.
Bastard.
I called him something else.
That was Bramwell's specialty.
No, it wasn't.
Both of them.
Both, yes.
Both of them,
Yeah.
Hayden Jarrett. What was your most fearsome experience at school? Skull again?
No, it was actually being initiated on the bull ant's nest.
What was the name of the game that was played across the fairway, where one ball would run across and trying to get to the other side, would be caught by the opposing team members and held down on an ant's nest if he failed? What was the name of that game? Do you remember? Tony?
British Bulldog.
That's correct. It was British Bulldog. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Hay. Bill McDonough, what are your favourite recollections of the school? Do you have any?
Yes, I do. Sport. I enjoyed my sport.
Who was your favourite teacher?
I liked Ken McGarvin. He was my tutor.
Yeah, what was his nickname?
Garvo. What?
Spinner McGarvin. We could call him Spinner.
No, we used to call him
Do you remember the phrase "team lines go"?
I do, yes. And
You had to climb the ropes and so forth.
yeah, and the red hand branch.
That's it. If you had your time over again, would you go back to the same school?
Yes, I would. And in fact, I sent my children to Peninsula School. Yeah.
Did they get caned too?
No, the cane was well and truly gone then.
I came before my time. Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
I loved your work in Australian Crawl.
Thanks, mate.
Bill was one of the leading lights of Australian Crawl. They made it very, very big.
Yeah, actually, our latest greatest hits album's just gone platinum.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, 70,000 units.
I love it. Good work from you, mate. Love it.
See ya.
Peter Wallace, affectionately known as Pierre. Do you have any happy memories of the school, Pierre?
Oh, many happy returns.
And unhappy one?
Yeah, a couple, yeah. One of them seems to be me now.
Touche. Now, who was your favourite teacher at the Pen?
Oh, geez, that's most probably Longley, I reckon.
Stephen Longer is a beautiful man. I loved him. I adored him.
I remember going to Luna Park with him and Bramwell, and they were down there and kicked up a ride. I think it was called the Rotor, and they were going upside down in it, and the bloke who ran it didn't like it.
I remember the rotor. It was when the thing spun around, the floor dropped out, and as you stuck to the wall, the girls' costumes would slide up like that.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, sure.
The point was, I didn't know him like Daryl did. That's the point, you see. That's the cameraman, Daryl. Yeah, my brother. He knew him very well. Yeah.
Can we get a selfie when I was
Now we're a gangbang. Everyone else got the same treatment.
Did they? So you weren't alone after all. You thought you were special. He's more. When I was going to do a bolter at lunchtime before going up to get caned by Skull, and my brother wasn't at open school that day, so I of course sought higher counsel, Pierre, and I said, "What do you reckon? I'm going to do a bolt." And he said, "No, mate, don't do that. You know, they'll expel you. You can't. No, that would give them grounds to expel you. No, stay and cop it." And so I did. Now, I'd like his answer as to whether he reckons he did the right thing.
Did you do the right thing, Pierre?
Well, most only put up in being expelled about 2 weeks, so I don't know. No. He didn't learn.
Were you ever caned?
In my defence, I was innocent.
They all are. The prison's full of innocent people.
That's correct. No, I may have done, yes, may have been up once.
I'll tell you how the Skull hit hardest, because I was playing a practice match down the oval of football. I wasn't very good at football, but this night I was starring. I was taking everything. And anyway, I go up for this mark, and so does Dudley, and he falls on me. His whole, like, 250 pound, falls on me and smashes my left ankle. No.
He broke your ankle?
Broke my ankle. I was on crutches for about 2 months, and my ankle is still weak to this day. That's my lasting memory of Mr. Clark. That fond memories of Daisy Wallace, Daisy was the first guy, and Bill will probably remember this, we were playing in the same football match. Daisy was the first bloke to break my nose. Now, there's been a few blokes since then have broken it, as you can see.
So he set the record.
I bent down to pick up the ball and he decided to kick it at the same time and caught me in the nose. So then I was chasing him around trying to punch the shit out of him. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. So, fond memories of the school are really a lot. And I really believe that today is basically a mirror of those fond memories that I'm prepared to come down and share my life now twice with these guys.
What was your opinion of the Reverend Bruce Clark?
The Reverend Bruce Clark. Well, he married us. Married me and my wife. Yeah.
Lovely man, I thought.
An absolute gentleman.
Yeah, kind, gentle soul. He was one of the shining lights in the school, in my opinion.
Wasn't he baptised our first child too? Yeah, so came back down to have that. So no, great memories.
Johnny Southey, what's the best thing you remember from school?
Oh, I think beating the crap out of Norm Crockford one day in order to establish my position in the pecking order. When I'd first come to the school, I was a loudmouth and smart aleck. And
so nothing's changed?
No, absolutely not at all. But I did have to fight for my recognition being a new boy.
DBC, as his initials were on unfortunately, the term reports. I didn't honestly know that name until today, and I do know that name, yes.
Were you ever caned by him at all?
No, I was never caned by him, but unfortunately there was an incident early on in Form 1, as it was in 61, where...
Founding member then?
Yeah, not for what it's worth, actually. Yeah, I'm a founding member, and it's great to have been part of the school in its early days, to be honest, Max. Yeah. But yeah, he was a very tough man. Unfortunately, he reduced a few people to rubble, shall we say. But it is what it is, and he was a fine man in other ways.
John Patterson, can you say a few words to camera, please? We've got Daryl shooting.
I'll say a lot to the camera.
What are your fond memories of the school?
Oh, I don't know. I think the sporting part was the main thing I enjoyed. So I think, yeah.
They were trying to get the runs on the board in those days at the AGS.
We tried pretty hard, and we didn't do all that real well, but they've done better since.
Yeah. Pleased to hear about it. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
We're now about to interview one of the brighter lights of the school, Miles Nelson. And it was reputed as a legend only, an allegation which Miles totally refutes, that him and a dear departed Peter Robertson, who was also another freewheeling spirit, found I say, some dynamite in the quarry at Red Hill. They had it stored in the creek to keep it cool, and they decided they'd let off a stick. Miles, did you own up to any of this?
Well, Peter was heavily involved in this situation. I was actually keeping the beers cold in the creek, just next to the gelignite, as it was. You know the difference between gelignite and dynamite, don't you?
Was it both?
No, dynamite blows up and gelignite blows down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and TNT blows out. You can see I paid attention when I was having those science lessons.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for science after all. And I hear you put a stick out on the ground and we're looking at it about 20 metres away, wondering whether you were far enough away.
That's right, and blew poor old Pete flat in his arse.
Yeah, they moved back a bit and then moved away, and even at 50 metres it blew him face down, didn't it?
Flat on his arse, that's right.
Good on you, mate. You were one of the brightest lights in the schools, Miles. I'm pleased to see you here.
Well, that was just the start of it. I turned out quite well in the end.
What was the headmaster's nickname in those days?
Well, I could tell you many names we had for him, but we had one called Cake. The headmaster was Skull.
That's correct. Everyone knew him as Skull. Were you ever caned by Skull?
Oh, many times.
Where did he hide his canes?
Well, he used to give it to me in the cane that was, in the changing rooms, the gymnasium changing rooms.
Pants on, I hope?
Yes, because you always got to... Invariably, you knew when it was coming because of something you did the day before, so you'd always put a few things in your undies, you know?
Chris Tennyson tried it with a Latin book, got found out and the Latin book was pulled out and he got it hit twice as hard.
I heard about that, but he was one of the brighter students, but he wasn't streetwise.
Miles, thanks for your time, mate. Great to see you again, and we'll see you here next time.
Fine.
What was the colour of the light outside his office in the hallway? Red. Sorry. What was the colour?
Red.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Red it was. Red for danger, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for your...
If it was flashing, run.
Picked up Neil Taylor by the collar and strung him up.
I mean, you started...
Do you remember that, Dazza?
What happened, Alan?
He grabbed him. He can't see.
Who grabbed who?
Dazza grabbed Neil Taylor, by the collar, and had him up. And he says, "Just stop picking on me, or I'll fucking do you. I'll chuck you." He's like, okay, Daryl, put it down. It's okay. He can't even remember.
One time I do remember was when Miles Nelson, I got his wooden ruler, had a karate chop between the two desks, and of course, broke it as it should be. And then he decided that he would do the same to mine, which I didn't think was very good. So I picked him up and gave him a body slam on the desk and broke the top of the desk right in the middle. So poor old Miles paid for that. He probably doesn't remember it, but he might. I'll ask him in a minute.
Here with Neil Chappell, one of the most popular masters at the school, and there weren't very many that were good. He was one of the good ones, one of the most popular maths teacher. What's your fond memories, Neil?
My fond memories are that when, at this particular time, 1965, when I arrived to the time the boys here, or the students here, still about 68, the school was smaller, you knew every student. It became more difficult later on. The school was growing, of course, so there was always something going on, Max.
Did you get annoyed when in maths class you said drop a perpendicular and we would yell bang?
No, I knew that there was some people there who had a sense of humour, Max, including yourself, of course.
You're too kind, sir.
Worst thing or best thing at school?
Oh, Max Worrell. Any day of the week. Oh, we got a lot of stories. Well, I remember Max and I, when we were at the boarding house, we used to sneak out every night, or for a few nights a week, and go and visit these girls at Tower Road, Jill and Sarah Norris. And they were very nice. We used to go and we used to come back and sneak back in. And there was this Chinese fella there who's turned out to be one of the biggest crooks in the world, Robert Sung. And Robert Sung told Bramwell that what we were up to, and we both got the cane. And Max took it pretty badly, actually, and he then hunted down Robert Sung, and they met up there at the junior school, and they had the biggest fight of all of my days in school. There was blood all over the lockers and everything, and Max got into super trouble after that. I remember that.
I got 12 cuts for that. I got 12 from Bramwell, and then he said, "I'll send you." He said, "You can have the cuts from me, or you can go to the headmaster." Nobody in their right mind would go to Skull for punishment. I said, "I'll get it done, sir. Do my punishment now." So he caned me 12 times and then sent me to the Skull. I said, "Sir, I've already been punishment for this." "Not enough," said Skull. Took the ruler took the cane from behind the Besser Block library rack in his bookshelf in his office. "Not enough," he said, gave me another 12. That's why I punched Robert Sung, and I got another 12 for that. 36, I reckon that's a school record. What do you think, Alan?
I think it was pretty incredible. I remember, but now Robert Sung, the last time I came to the reunion 5 years ago, someone had pulled out a Interpol wanted list, and Robert Sung's there. Because he was the guy who gave the brown paper bag, the infamous brown paper bag, to Joe Bajelki Peterson, and was named in the Fitzgerald report. He was the bag man. And so that's one of my big memories of school. But
yeah, I think Robert Sung was wanted for kidnapping by Interpol.
Yes, that's right, and graft and corruption and all the others. But I got a lot of good memories from school generally. And as I said, Max and I spent a bit of time together listening to the Rolling Stones. I always remember we had the album 12 by 5, and we used to go down to his place in Frankston, and in his bedroom, and it was on full bore. We had a lot of good times there, you know.
What about our old mate Robbo?
Pete Robertson.
Pete
Robertson, my hero, the only man to...
Gun to school.
He bought a gun to school, a .45 revolver, and he said he just fired at the motor at the back of the school bus at Red Hill. Fortunately for the passengers on the bus, he missed. So yeah, Pete Robertson.
But his claim was that he only brought it to school because some other guy had bullets and he wanted to see whether they fitted.
That would be Pete. That would be Pete for sure.